Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to T-Box Talk, episode 34. My name is Andrew, and as always, joined today by Josh and Will. Today on the podcast, going to be doing some weekend roundup, going over our Iceberg Open event. It was an absolute blast, and we have some clips to go along with it. Talk some football. We're going to break down the new Netflix show Wednesday. We all watched it, and it was amazing, and we all really liked it, so I really want to talk about it. Maybe a couple other things that you guys have been watching as well. And then we're going to try to do an off-the-cuff stand-up segment. Not really much preparation went around. It's been a busy couple weeks for us with the Black Friday, Cyber Monday sale going on and prepping for the Christmas sale. Speaking of the Christmas sale, get on our email list. We are going to be launching a Christmas sale next week. You can take 15% off your Trilate on the website, as well as get a free caddy clean with the use of the code
Xmas15.
Xmas15. I thought it was going to be Merry 15.
You could do Merry 15 too.
Yeah, do Merry 15 so it's separate from the Facebook.
Yeah, so get on our email list. Get prepared if you want a Trilite and a caddy clean for the holiday season. Last day to order to guarantee it before Christmas would probably be Friday the 16th, just to be safe there. All right, let's get into it, boys. The weekend roundup. Last time we all spoke on the podcast, me and Josh were off to Gillette Stadium for the Patriots-Bills game. We were nervous that I was going to be super cold. It wasn't that bad, I wouldn't say. I think we prepared well. We did have some state-of-the-art hand warmers, though, that got too hot. Patriots got fucking smoked, but it was a great night. My rest of my weekend was kind of just a Friday night Xbox pub session. And then, obviously, we had the Iceberg Open that we'll get into later, and I binge-watched all of Wednesday. So I had a pretty boring weekend, besides the Iceberg Open, which was awesome. Will?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say the majority of my weekend roundup kind of revolves around the Iceberg Open. Saturday was shit weather, so I didn't do anything. I pretty much sat inside all day with my family, and we got some Vietnamese takeout, some pho, which I haven't had in a while, which was awesome. Tried a new place over in Vernon. And, yeah, like I said, watched some movies, watched some shows, and that was pretty much the entirety of the weekend outside of golf.
It's funny you bring up Vietnamese food because I was literally playing Xbox last night with my friends, and one of them was talking about getting a Vietnamese sandwich. And
Banh mi?
Yes, and yeah. I can honestly say I don't think I've ever had Vietnamese food.
I watched a whole documentary on banh mi.
Yeah, they do Asia. They do the street food series for Asia.
I'm pretty sure that's the one.
That's probably the one. Yeah, they did like a whole episode on banh mi. I love banh mi. There's a great place actually. If you want,
what is it?
Vietnamese food or banh mi? Banh mi is a pork. It's a pork sandwich, and it's got like onion and like some leafy green on it or something like that. It's a very like low cost sandwich, and it's also very good. I'm more into like spring rolls and pho. And there's a great Vietnamese place actually up in Providence, almost Pawtucket area, called Pho Horns. So if you're looking for some good Vietnamese food around the Providence area, that's the spot.
All right, interesting. Josh, do you like Vietnamese food?
I haven't had a whole lot of Vietnamese food. But all pretty much Asian food in general is my like go-to. So yeah. I would say that I probably would, like he's saying spring rolls, he's saying pho, like the pork sandwiches. I mean, a lot of the ingredients are centralized, I think, in a lot of the Asian food. Oh, wow, yeah. Voice crack.
Josh just turned 13 yesterday. So yeah. Happy birthday, by the way, to Josh.
Happy birthday, Josh. Yes, 25th birthday yesterday. He's quarter of a century years old. How's it feel?
Andrew got me free Chipotle yesterday, which I did. Really sweet, very kind.
I never said that was free, though. I need $10 for that.
You did say it was free. I said I wanted to pay for it.
I was just being nice. I'm going to need that
Venmo. Josh ringing in the 25th birthday with a knee injury this morning, too.
Yeah, dude, I'm sorry if I'm a little shook right now. I walked into the office today and, like, literally there's this fucking guy who has this, like, 6 foot long, like, what is it? What do they call? They're like carrying for box.
Dollies?
Dolly. Yeah. And he's like wheels it in, and it's taking up like 80% of the entrance of the elevator. And I'm walking in, dude. I'm tired. Like I'm still trying to wait. I don't drink coffee, so I'm just like trying to, get set for the day. And I walk in, and I didn't see the lip. It was so tall at the front. I like lifted my leg over it because I couldn't walk in. And sure enough, I didn't go high enough, and I literally creamed my knee into the fucking edge of this metal dolly. And I'm like, literally, like, ruined my Lulu pants that I spent my entire month's salary on. And I'm in excruciating pain.
You know why that would never happen to me?
Why?
Because I have elevator anxiety. So if there's elevator social anxiety, so like if there's someone waiting to use the elevator, I'll take the stairs.
I gotta be honest.
I do not want to make small talk in the elevator. It's the most it might be the only area that has the most pressure to make small talk, and it's almost awkward when you don't. And even the small talk that's made is like some bullshit about the weather or like what day of the week it is. You know, it's like that.
That's interesting because like I'll just stand in the elevator and stare straight forward and not give a fuck.
See, I have no problem being an asshole and just putting having my AirPods
but
in.
you're not an asshole.
I just take my phone out.
You're not. What makes you an asshole about the idea that you maybe don't want to communicate with somebody in a fucking 3x3 box?
Yeah, a stranger.
Yeah, stranger. Look, you could be friendly, like if you want to be friendly, but doesn't make you a dick because you don't go, oh, hi, Mary Lou, like, how's your day? Like, let's talk about your problems in this 10-second elevator ride that we have.
Not for nothing, too, is like 90% of the people who take that elevator up here are screaming children. So.
That's true. Sometimes I actually like the kids, though. Like, sometimes there's funny-ass kids doing funny-ass shit on the elevator.
They go crazy in the elevator.
I will say, don't touch the buttons in that elevator because they have probably more goo and gawk and all that shit that...
Poop and pee.
Yeah, poopy and pee-pee and whatnot.
It's so gross. It's so gross.
Yep.
Josh, did you do anything besides the Iceberg Open this weekend?
I definitely spent a good chunk of time watching some film this weekend, and I had so much fun with it. There's some fucking stupid ass movies out recently, and then at the same time, there's some unbelievable things, you know. But we can talk about that in a minute when we get to it. But I did have something yesterday. My mom made. I asked her to make like homemade chicken parm with like hand breaded chicken and like freshly fried and whatnot.
For your birthday?
Yeah, for my birthday. And she made these 2 fucking huge log sandwiches, and it was unbelievable. Yeah. Like so good. Fresh mozzarella, which I can't process at all. So
but it was worth it in the moment.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was great. But then it was so funny. She tried to make. I asked her for a banana cream pie because that's what that's my favorite type of pie for my birthday. She goes out to Dave's, thinks that I won't like their pie. So she comes home, which I love Dave's banana cream pie. I don't know why she thought that. But comes home is so funny. She tries to make her own. And she fucks something up in the recipe. So the pie was liquid. No. So it's just a liquid banana cream pie, like inside of,
the crust.
Yeah. So it was hilarious. And we ate it. We just like slurped it up and whatnot. But
can you process the banana cream pie, or is it just kind of one of those?
She made it with no cream. She made it with almond milk, so that might have contributed to the lack of
disaster.
Why it didn't like set or something.
Why it didn't set. Yeah. So
all right. Well, hey, good weekends all around, I guess. Yeah. I guess we'll get right into the Iceberg Open. It's probably going to be the crux of this whole episode. So to recap,
crux is negative, right? Saying it's the crux of this episode.
You maybe could say like pinnacle of this episode.
Yeah, you could say it's like the focal point of this episode.
Yeah, there you go.
But you saying it's the crux is letting everybody know that it's the worst part of this episode.
I've never been one for grammar. So
Proof is in the pudding.
All right. Well, anyways, to recap, Will plays in the Greenskeeper Revenge at Tallwood Country Club in what town? Hebron, Connecticut. We filmed a podcast about it. We made a clip. It went super viral on TikTok. We then get invited back in a couple months to play in the Iceberg Open, which it is what it sounds like. It's a golf tournament in the middle of December in the freezing cold, and it is for kids. It's more of like a toy drive to get some Christmas presents for the less fortunate. It is an absolutely fantastic event. So because of that video and Will's dad working at the course, we ended up getting invited to play in the Iceberg Open, which took place on, it was supposed to be Saturday.
Ended up being Sunday, yeah.
Shit weather. So we were going to play Saturday in like the 50-degree weather with rain. And it
pouring rain and wind. No. I'll take the cold over that.
So they moved to Sunday, and then it ended up being like 35 degrees the whole day. But
nightmare.
At least it was sunny, and there wasn't consistent wind. So it was bearable, I would say, for like 75% of the time.
I'm going to be honest.
I was fucking cold, man. I don't know what
I don't know, man.
By the end of the round, I was a fucking ice cube.
I think that when it's funny because we played the first like 5 holes and I actually felt fine. And then we got like that hot chili and we had the hot dog and everything. And like
we had that pretty early on too. That was like after I think 5 holes.
Yeah. So the first 5 holes were great. Chili was great. The next like 3 holes were great. Because I was like I literally warmed my body up, and I also hadn't eaten at all that day, so that was like good energy. And then after that, I would say it became so cold. I also didn't bring a glove, which was I don't know how I fucked that up, but I didn't bring a glove, so I was like raw dogging it out there, and it was fucking cold. I was like to the point where, I don't know, I was starting to get delirious out there.
Yeah, and Josh is not a big guy to wake up in the morning, especially on the weekend. So picking him up at 7:45 in the morning, he was.
Oh, that's right.
He was super.
You guys made it. You guys made a great effort, though. I'll give you that. You know, it was 3 hours of driving. I mean.
Luckily,
Luckily,
I was
the
fine.
event like outplays the it's 5-6 hours, maybe 5 hours that you were there for 3 hours of driving. So it still works out mathematically. But.
Yeah, it was great. Off the cuff, honestly, the tournament was run so well. Like we never waited on a single hole. I don't know if that's just because not enough people went.
Well, I mean, like they sold it out, and the only reason why there was only about 100 or 100, it was 120 or 130 people on Sunday, but I think they had more or less 140 or 150, but the day changed obviously threw a wrench in some people's plans. So, but yeah, I mean, just like the Greenskeepers Revenge tournament, I mean, it moved very quickly. I think at the end of the day, we played in like 4.5 hours, maybe a little more, which is very good for a tournament.
Yeah, and what's funny is it wasn't even a 4-man scramble. It was
individual.
It was individual tournament, and then you could sign up for an additional 2-man best ball tournament,
Correct.
which Josh and Will signed up for.
Yep.
Didn't win that, right?
So Josh and I placed second in the best ball, the 2-man best ball. I placed first, so yay, Will.
Go Will.
So I don't know exactly how many people were in my division because I don't have a handicap, so I was in like the Callaway division, and I don't really know what that constitutes. I'm not big into like the GHIN and all that stuff. So, but I did win first in my division there, which was awesome. That was $150. And by the time I found out that I had a playoff hole, because it was me and another guy that tied for first, clubs were already in the car. Golf shoes are already off. Yeah. I'm a freaking icicle. And Zach's
it was wet too.
It was wet, and like if you had stepped in a puddle or something, like your feet weren't coming back from that.
At the end of the day, when I took my cleats off, it was a swamp in there. Yeah. And it was not like a warm, cozy like Florida swamp. It was like
it wasn't Shrek swamp.
It was it was a desolate wasteland of frozen water in my shoe, and it was so fucking real. Like I literally. Yeah, so to your point, at the end of the round,
it was cold, and I told Zach, I was like, "Look, man, like I'm freaking cold. I'm all packed up. I'm not going out and playing a playoff hole." Yeah. And he was like, "Oh, come on, pussy." No, I'm just he wasn't saying that, but the other guy that was gonna play the playoff hole with me also opted out of it, so they split the winnings. So it's I got like $150 for winning. It should have been like 300 plus a prize, but like I was even happy just to give the other guy all of the winnings because I was just it's like the first time I've ever won anything outside of like high school golf.
Yeah, that was cool.
So that was cool. And then I also, which I didn't know, I ended up placing second gross too outside of the Callaway division. So that was another $150, and you know it's more money than I've ever walked away from with a golf. You know, usually you get like pro shop credit or like
plus
prizes,
we didn't pay for the round.
No, exactly.
So like that's the best part about it is that you would have walked out of there basically even or. Nah, not even, but like maybe
a little in the green, but
you definitely would have paid. What did they say what it cost?
It was $60 a head, so it was 240 for a foursome. Yeah, and then an extra 20 if you want to do the 2-man, and then they had all those skins prizes too, which were like birdie on this hole or like shit like that, you know, which I didn't know about, but I didn't really feel like spending cash on that either.
Yeah, before we get into the like specific little quirks of the tournament, I will say I didn't play my best. I thought I was going to get a few weeks ago on the podcast, I said, Iceberg Open, it's going to be an even playing field because everybody's going to be cold. Like I got a chance to contribute here and like maybe make some noise. And first 2 holes, DNR did not register a score on the first 2 holes. I maxed out.
I mean, granted, we did start on the par 3, which we'll talk about more, but I mean, I think for everyone, it was a fucking battle out there that day. Yeah. I mean, even for me, like, I didn't hit some great shots, but I had some great shots to counter those, and that's what fucking ultimately saved me and helped me, advance and win. But it was a battle. I mean, there was not an easy shot.
Were really difficult on that course. The greens were had like 15 things going on with them. I couldn't get a read on it all day long. I mean, it was so had I not, you know what I mean? Like would not have, and I've also not, you and I have, well, you grew up playing that course, right?
Yeah, that's my home course. Yeah.
So Andrew and I had never played the course, but I would say that the conditions where it was soaking wet, literally downpoured the night before. The greens were fast. Some greens were fast. Some greens had because they had been aerated a couple weeks ago.
Sanded in a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
some were fast. Some were wet.
It was weird. Probably the weirdest conditions I've ever played on a hole because, like, it was still playing the speed of the previous greens because I think it had been sanded and aerated, but it was still. It was just weird.
It's just tough, you know, and your putter definitely wasn't on at all.
One thing that bothers me too about that, probably my least favorite part about winter golf is the bunkers.
Yes,
they're unhittable, dude.
Yeah.
Like I tried like 8 different times out of a bunker, like just for fun, just to see like how would you play this shot. When you hit off of a hard bunker, it is brutal, dude. You have to skull it out almost.
Well, they said it before. You could get preferred lies in the bunker.
But that doesn't even help.
Yeah, I remember, like, I think Zach made a comment, like, yeah, like, the bunkers are really hard. Please don't break my rakes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
because,
trying to,
like, dude,
break
when
the
you
traps.
swing at hard sand, it's like the tough part about it is it's worse than even dirt because on dirt, you don't typically go into the ground so it slides underneath the ball better if it's really hard. But when it's just hard enough that with the sand it's like wet sand. Oh, it was wet sand and packed down as well, not just cold.
Some traps had a little bit of water in them as expected. But
yeah, but you can't. The whole way that you hit a sand shot typically is that you're trying to get under the ball, like an inch under the ball, and then you fall through under the sand and it lifts up. But what happens is like you try to go under it and it just digs into the ground because it's so hard and whatnot. So you can't swing through it.
It's like clay almost. You know? Yeah.
So you have to swing. I guess you have to swing at it and almost just like literally chunk it out.
I was just trying to pick the balls out of the trap. I think I didn't lose a ball that day. I think I was in the trap 1 or 2 times, but each time I was literally just trying to thin it honestly out of the trap.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, like, to get into some of the like little quirky things
little caveats,
the little tournament. The big rule was that on all the par threes, you had to use a driver. So there were 4 par threes throughout the tournament, and you had to use a driver, which I thought was pretty funny. And honestly, I think Josh and Will both had excellent shots on one of the par threes, like put it within 10 feet.
Yeah, definitely proved to be less difficult than I had anticipated. I think I put like 2 shots out of the 4. I think I put like 2 on the green and 2 around the green, and I ended up having some good chip shots, which set me up for par. But Josh, I think on like 2 or 3 of them, stuck the fucking driver to like 5 feet.
Yeah, it was awesome.
It was bizarre. I don't know how I did that. Literally, I was like more consistent with the driver than I think I would have been with a fucking iron.
Yeah,
literally, yeah.
It was weird.
I thought that was that was a really fun caveat. And then sticking with the par threes because there were 4 par threes on 2 of which you could not use a putter.
Correct.
So you had to use another club. So I decided to go with the driver and play Happy Gilmore style, like hold it like a hockey puck. A hockey stick, and it actually worked. I drilled 2 putts from I
think you made par
5 to 8 feet. Yeah.
I think you made par on 3, and I think we got video of that too, which is great. I was after you guys left and we went into the pro shop to get the prizes and stuff. I found out that a lot of people were opting for a wedge for putting.
Yeah, see, no,
which I guess is like not a thing, but like it's kind of like if you can't use your putter, like on the tour, like if you snapped your putter in half, like. The next thing the pro would do is go down to the wedge to putt instead of using a driver or a fairway wood.
Like that's so nonsensical. Why would you not use like a 4-iron? I think
you just hit it. You don't use the face of the club. You use the bottom or like the toe of the club to putt it. Yeah.
I think there was I think he's the Japanese golfer. Didn't he break his putter over his leg and then he used the 3-wood? It was in a tournament this year.
Morikawa?
No. I'll get his name, but I'm whiffing on
I know what you're talking about.
But he used his like 5-wood or 3-wood.
That's the thing. The reason you would use a driver or a 3-wood is because it's the flattest. It's the most equivalent to the degree of a putter.
Yeah. So, like, question for the audience: if you couldn't use your putter, what club are you going to use to putt?
I think the only drawback of using the driver on the green was that the ball bounces off the club of the face. Whereas if you use a wedge, the construction of the head of the club is much similar to that of a putter.
Well, what about a 4-iron then?
Yeah, you could. 4-iron would work too. If you had a 2-iron or driving iron, I think that would be another good substitute for it.
Yeah, so I mean that was like one of the cool things, and then another like really interesting caveat to the tournament was there were a few holes that had no pins. Right, so if you're standing on the fairway, like we thought the group ahead of us had made a mistake and not put the pin back in the hole. Turns out, no, that was part of one of like the little mini games, I guess you could call it. There was no pins on the green, and there was 3 holes. So you would just kind of blindly hit up onto the green, and in whatever hole you were close to, that was the one you would go for. And I thought that was a very, very cool little caveat.
Yeah, I definitely think that, and I'm wondering, you don't think that during this Iceberg Open, you don't think they did that for us, do you?
I'm not entirely sure. Zach texted me like 2 days prior or something like that, and he just mentioned that we're gonna have some fun things out there for you guys.
Yeah, that makes sense. I don't feel like if I had paid for a tournament like that and they made me do that, I don't know if I'd been happy.
I mean,
about
I'm all for it.
I am too.
Bring it on. Put more caveats out there. That's the stuff that I liked so much about the Greenskeepers Revenge tournament.
Again, I think you're using this word caveat, and I don't think it means what you think it means. I'm pretty sure a caveat is also a negative thing.
No, like a caveat is like a curveball or a change.
No, that's not what it means.
Well, look it up.
Caveat is like, I'm pretty sure it's like a little negative thing that's good. They're doing mini games. That's what it.
All right, caveat. A warning enjoying one from certain acts or practices. Yeah, I think I'm using the wrong word there.
Using the wrong word. Yeah, it's a mini game. It's
mini game.
Mini game. Let's call it mini Mario Party, dude.
You keep using words that are alluding to like negativity in what we're doing. he's like the caveat. The one thing that was the problem with the event was these mini games that we played. Like,
all right. Well, whatever.
Scratch the caveat.
I'm just trying to help here. If I was listening to this, I think I might be a little bit confused at what you were saying.
Well, it was a freaking great tournament.
Big shout out to the director of golf there, Zach Sennett, for allowing us to come play and setting all this up. And it's rare that you get to play a fun tournament in December. So
yeah,
big
I definitely loved
Tallwood and those guys over there.
If I was in a normal tournament and they were doing fun things like that, I think it would be. I mean, that's in a charity tournament, 100%. Like that's how golf should be played. It should be fun like that. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. And I will say, going back to the dogs and the chili turn, fantastic hot dog.
Yeah,
that was perfectly cooked. And they did a cool thing where I honestly haven't seen this, but they had a crock pot going with all the dogs they pre-cooked in there.
Yeah.
Oh, it's freaking
keeping
genius.
them warm.
And they weren't boiled hot dogs; they were grilled hot dogs.
Stacy cooks a mean hot dog. I'll give her that.
Oh my god, it was a great dog.
Yeah. I felt like I don't, like I said in that video, in one of our little videos, I don't eat beef or pork on the regular. So
I know you were like hesitant on the chili when we first went in there, and then I saw you leave with chili, and I was like, he's not going to regret that decision.
No, because what was I going to do if I didn't take either of those things out? It would have been 2 bags of fucking potato chips, and I would have roasted half of Colucci's M&Ms, and he'd have been pissed.
I would have been pissed.
And that would have been what I would have eaten for the day.
Yeah, that would have been like not good energy for that.
Josh surprised me with a bag of peanut M&Ms, and it kind of turned my whole round around. I freaking love peanut M&Ms.
Yeah,
but great tournament. Thank you so much for Tallwood for having us out there. Would love to play in any type of quirky tournament that you have going on. I love that shit. So it was a lot of fun. Anyone else got anything on the Iceberg Open?
No. I'm glad that you guys actually, outside of the tournament, you guys were able to come play Tallwood, because I feel like I've mentioned it so many times on this.
Yeah,
podcast.
I mean, I would love to come play it in the warm.
Yeah,
you know? like when it's actually.
It was in like okay. It was in good. It was in good condition for the time of the year. But if you get out there in like the heat of summer, that course is freaking beautiful.
Yeah, and it was a great drive up too.
It's a needle in the haystack in terms of like golf course is in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, it is in the middle of fucking nowhere, that's for sure. And but that's kind of a nice thing about it, you know.
Didn't you like the spacing on like the holes? Like you didn't like have to worry about shanking it or slicing it into someone.
That's how
I
like
to say you would shank it or slice it, but like
that's how I like to play.
I'm kind of just realizing that now.
And honestly, I'll be honest.
That's actually why I should say that.
If you're not a good golfer, or even if you're not, forget even good. If you're not like a consistent enough golfer to play on a course like that, it can be very frustrating because you're battling the woods constantly with shanks and all this and that. But I would say that like I played this course Foxborough for many years. It's in Foxborough, of course, Foxborough Country Club, and it literally every hole is like hard woods on both sides, and if you hit it, it's gone no matter what.
Yeah.
So and for a long time it was a pain in the ass, but I came to love those kind of courses because I don't like being up other people's asses when I play, you know, like I really enjoy like being isolated on a hole. It's kind of the way to get away, I think, on a golf course. You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah. You took a video too, I believe, of it was one of our final holes. It was that par 5 of Colucci's approach shot into the green. And there's like the big field in the back with the barn and everything. And I think that really puts into perspective like how isolated this course really is. So like I said, if anyone's listening and you want to play a fun long course out in Connecticut,
yeah,
Tallwood.
It's a good course.
Absolutely. And then it's going to wrap up the golf segment for this week. And quick football thing to go over because I'm sure Josh actually doesn't know this, but me and Josh are on a collision course right now for the first round of the playoffs in fantasy.
What do you mean?
If you finish in the 4th seed, I will finish in the 5th seed. We will play each other in the first round of the playoffs for fantasy football next week.
So we're both in.
We're both in, but it's all about seeding right now. So if you lose this week, you're not finishing in the 3rd seed, and if I lose, I'm not finishing in the 3rd seed either. Our other friend will, and me and you will be 4-5. We will play each other in the first round of the playoffs.
I gotta be honest with you,
Which will be intense as fuck.
I'll just be straight with you. One, I'm horrified of your team, and 2, I will say that my team right now is on the cusp of greatness. I believe that they say, but here's the thing. They've been running your players into the ground this whole season. Like Josh Jacobs, Eckler, is it?
Yeah.
Eckler, a bunch of the running back gauntlet. That you have set up right now has been run into the fucking ground this whole season. Whereas Marquise Brown is coming. It actually already came back like not this last week, but the week before that. So he's coming back, and he just is coming off of a bye, going healthy into playoffs. DeAndre Swift put up a great fucking round.
And the Lions are making a push for
and
the
Lions
right
are
now.
Unbelievable.
They're back from the dead.
I said this from the very beginning, that the Lions are a good team. They've been fucking lighting it up on offense the whole season, minus a couple off games. But they've lost most of their games by like one possession or something on like a 40-point scored game.
Yeah, right now they're in the hunt. They're not in the playoffs right now, but they're in the hunt, and they're making a run right now. It's kind of cool to see.
So they're hungry. And what's his face? They've been saving DeAndre Swift. They've been saving him. He came back. He was not healthy. Yeah. And they were playing the rookie and whatnot. So he's coming back. Josh Allen's in action. Yeah. It would be a crazy matchup.
We're going to have to place a bet on it. Friendly wager.
If it happens.
If it happens.
Now I have to lose this week for that to be.
I also have to lose. Because if I win and you lose, I take the 3 seed and play the 6th seed. So, but yeah, fantasy playoffs are right around the corner. It's a very exciting time for all those who enjoy fantasy football. Patriots are in big trouble, losing to the Bills. They're 6-6 now, and they're kind of fucked because they can win their next 2 games, but their last 3 games, we got Joe Burrow and the Bengals coming to town. Oh. We got Tua and the Miami Dolphins coming to town, and then we have to go to Buffalo.
I got to be honest, Joe Burrow's looking good.
Yeah. So the Patriots are in big trouble. So they have to win these next 2 games, Monday night against the Cardinals and against the Raiders. Tom Brady wins an epic game, dog shit game actually, but
did not cover.
Did not cover, blowing up the fantasy, the pick and pool. But, football, I can't believe football season's almost over. We're in week 14 already, so we're getting close to the end here. So, very scary stuff.
It's been hard picking games has not been easy. It was easy in the beginning.
It's always easier in the beginning of the season because nobody, there's no, the spreads, nobody has a good angle yet. But then now it's the spreads are close as fuck.
They're so
they're
close.
either half a point either way. So it's
Crazy.
It's really, really tough.
Yeah.
I don't think I've had a positive gambling week in a month, 2 months maybe. I might have to shut the book down. I'm shutting the book down. That's gonna wrap up football for this week. Let's go into something that I've been waiting to talk about. And if you haven't seen it yet, maybe skip ahead 10 minutes. 5 to 10 minutes. Skip ahead. Because the new Netflix show, Wednesday, is running the table right now on Netflix. I mean, my God, it broke. So Josh sent me an article about how it broke or Will sent the article.
No, it was Josh, yeah.
How it broke the streaming record for Stranger Things Season 4. And that is incredible to me because I thought the article was fake. Turns out it's not. And then I took all of Saturday, 8 straight hours. I watched every episode back to back to back, never stopped. And I freaking loved it.
For those of you who do not know, Wednesday was directed and created by Tim Burton, who has done every movie you've ever loved from your childhood that had anything to do with fucking Halloween, basically. Yeah. And he is far and beyond one of the best directors of all time. And that show was one of the best shows I've ever seen.
So good.
And it was a take on the Addams Family, which some people know, a lot of people know, I think, but not everybody I don't like the Addams Family. I liked the movies. See, I did.
I never even watched them.
Yeah.
So I had no idea going into watching Wednesday what the fuck the Addams Family was even. Like, you kind of know what it is, but like I knew nothing about it.
And to be honest, this interpretation of the Addams Family is far and beyond my favorite of any so far. Like, I love the actors they chose. I love the way that the mom and the dad's dynamic is fucking
so
great.
Funny.
I love them. I love her. That's
Jenna Ortega.
No, you're talking about Wednesday. The mom is a very popular actress. She's Catherine Zeta-Jones. No,
Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Catherine Zeta-Jones.
I didn't know. I didn't recognize her. Obviously, I recognize the dad.
The way that she talks in that show is so like seductive / badass mom. Like
Catherine Zeta-Jones
Catherine
plays
Zeta-Jones,
Morticia Addams.
She's so hot in that too, and so many there's like, that's the thing, is they threaded the line perfectly of like sort of sex appeal / like kind of Harry Potter-esque like friendliness and magic in a way. Like, it was a dark show and there was murders in it and there was blood, but it wasn't over the top where I'm like uncomfortable. Like, a kid could watch that show, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, it's on the edge.
I think the body parts. It's rated TV 14.
If you have some progressive parents, it's okay.
Yeah.
Those are the kids that'll be watching it. But
maybe not like an 8-year-old, but I definitely think like 10 plus, you'd be fine watching that.
Yeah, I can see. I like how you pointed it towards Harry Potter, because I could see this show being just like Harry Potter, where like every Harry Potter movie or book was based off a different semester at Hogwarts, you know? So I could see this show doing like every season is a new semester.
They can only do 4 seasons, right?
Which is exactly why when I talked about it on What Are We Watching last, I immediately just think, okay, they're going to probably run this dry and do 4 seasons, right? Because it's 4 semesters.
They could do the kid. They could do the kid goes to high school.
That's true.
The boy.
Yeah.
And Wednesday becomes a teacher or some shit. I don't know.
I don't know, but whatever they do, I'm really excited. Will, how did you see the twist ending coming at all, or when did you think you got it?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I do not really remember how it ended. I mean, I watched it last week.
Do we want to do spoilers, or
I don't know if we want to.
It's new enough. I don't think we should. But
the bottom line is this.
Can you remind me about what? Oh, you don't want to do spoilers.
Well, I mean, if I tried to remind you what happened,
it twists like 5 times.
Here's the thing. And to that end, Will, the reason I think you don't really remember what happens is because this show did something that very few shows can accomplish. They told probably 5 subplot stories within the one story. So you all along, it's not just one killer or the other. It's also there are accomplices along the way that have huge impacts, and there are villains that come up literally like 3/4 of the way through that you don't even anticipate being there. And it just kept you on the edge of your seat from the first episode to the last episode.
So as you're talking about it, I now remember how it ends.
Yeah.
And no, I did not see that coming, but it is something that Marissa and I had like
talked about,
like a hypothetical that we talked about earlier on in the season.
It was hard.
I thought it was just going to be one kid I thought it was going to be one of the kids is the monster, and it's that simple. And of course, it wasn't. It gets a lot more convoluted than that. What you mentioned, which I really like, there are some episodes that have a complete separate side plot that just gets opened and resolved within that episode, but they still move the main story forward, which I thought was fucking perfect. Like, it was really, really good.
Well, you know what the whole, like, the twists and turns reminds me of is a lot of how the Watcher transpires.
I've never seen The Watcher
yet. Okay, so, like, in The Watcher, like, basically the dad goes out and literally just accuses people one by one until he figured, well, they never figure it out in The Watcher. But that's kind of like the storyline here is, like, they follow every path, every subplot to try and figure out who is committing these serial murders.
It was brilliant. It was truly, truly brilliant. It was interesting because if they had released that show during Halloween, I don't even know what it would have broken it did break every record in the book. Actually, it broke every record in Netflix history, basically. If they had launched it in Halloween, I don't know if anybody would ever break that record. I mean, it was just that good.
Yeah, it was. So it really, really was.
She did a good job too, Jenna Ortega.
Yeah,
she was fucking so convincing.
Yeah.
She had this weird. She's 20, by the way. I don't know if you guys knew that.
Yeah,
but she's 20, and she had this weird thing going on where she was like this like goth girl, but she had a lot of love interests in the show, and she was very like seductive in her manners, and like a lot of people didn't like her as characters in the like not a lot of people outside the show. I mean, in the show there was a lot of people that didn't like her, but it was like cut in half. Like half the people are obsessed with the darkness of her, and then half the people like basically do not fuck with it at all.
Yeah,
and it just like created this like it's like this clash and like
the dynamic between her and her roommate was awesome.
Yeah. Like the light and the dark. I mean, that's
right.
The negative energy and then the positive energy. I mean, that's what the world is comprised of, negatives and positives.
Speaking of her and her roommate, they had probably one of the fucking coolest dorm rooms I've ever.
Yeah.
What the hell? Did all their dorm rooms look like that? No way.
Yeah. Like 17-foot ceilings with like being outside a clock tower, having a balcony to themselves.
30-foot circle window.
Yeah.
Stained glass.
That's factual. I saw that and I was like, damn. I mean, dude, if you're sending your kids to that school and it's paying for the taxes of the entire town, then it's got to be a pretty penny to go there because there were only like 200 students there.
Did you like notice the contrast where like they try to play it out to be in Vermont, but like you almost immediately realize that like there's no way this could be actually set in Vermont?
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really pick up on that. Like you mentioned that, and I was like, I was thinking about it the whole time.
It's based in Jericho, Vermont, and there's some like
the show is based, or they filmed it in Jericho.
No,
Vermont?
So the show is based in Jericho, Vermont.
Okay.
Because in the beginning they say something like, "Oh, you can take a train to Burlington." So immediately I'm like,
"Really?
Boom, Burlington, Vermont." So I'm like, "Okay, so this has to be set in Vermont." And then eventually I see a Vermont license plate on one of the cars, but the castle itself, where like they live and have school, that's in Romania. So the little town itself, like where the weather vane was, the coffee shop, that kind of reminds me of like a Vermont-esque town. Yeah. But the fucking castle and like where they were staying, like that, like I saw that and I'm like, yeah, there's no fucking way that's Vermont.
Yeah.
And I have one final thought on it. It's quick. A lot of shows, in fact, this year alone during Halloween, they came out with a show that was basically off of the Harry Potter model of like kids going to school with magic and werewolves and all that shit. And it sucked.
Yeah, you brought this up last week.
Right. And I told everybody about it. There are a lot of other shows that have tried to do this as well. But this is the first show that did it and did it elegantly enough that you were bought into it. Like they did the Edgar Allan Poe games in the show, which is when they do these like, they do like different, you know how they did like the...
It was just like Quidditch. It reminded me just like Quidditch.
It wasn't actually, you know what? It was more like in the fourth Harry Potter when they do the water event where they try to rescue people in the water.
Oh, yeah.
Remember? Because they had houses. Like they had different houses and they did tents and stuff with the same kind of coloration that they... So there were a lot of things...
uniforms.
Right,
yeah.
The uniforms. They really... I don't want to say they copied it, but they took a lot of influence from Harry Potter and it worked. And that should tell you enough about how good the show is that they executed it to that degree.
It was one of those shows where I I watched the first 20 minutes of the first episode. I paused it. I was like, and I got some snacks. I was like, I know what I'm about to do for the next 8 hours. And then when the 8 hours were up and I was done, I was like, fuck. Like, I want to watch it again. Like, that sucks that I'm already done with this. But great show. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. We didn't really give away too much. So anyone else watch anything besides that?
No, I mean, after that finished, I mean, I'm just back to Game of Thrones right now so that I can get to
House of the Dragon.
House of Dragon.
Well, that's just, I don't think you have to waste time there.
I don't know. For me, it's just like Game of Thrones. Like, I'll watch it once, and then 2 weeks later, I forget everything that happened.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. House of the Dragon takes place 200 years before.
Yeah, it's a prequel, but like,
no, there's still tidbits in there that you'll pull. If you watch Game of Thrones, you will still know about. There's
the dragon pits.
It's like know the future, so you can like put the past together with the future. So
look, winter is coming. The night is long. I've got plenty of time to watch TV. So
yeah,
Josh, you watch any movies with the fam?
Yeah, dude. I did the Christmas one last week.
The
Christmas rants. Yeah.
I did watch Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special, which is 45 minutes long. Highly recommend.
Yes.
Out of 10, I'd give it like an 8-1 because it was so funny and it was super Christmassy. It was just a great movie.
Where is that? Disney Plus?
That would be Disney Plus.
Yeah.
The other one that I watched was Bullet Train with.
Didn't you just watch that too, Colucci?
No.
No. Okay, maybe it was Angus.
Because they just put Bullet Train on the streaming service.
So
right?
yes, they just put it on Netflix. It's like a front page.
Okay.
Piece of content. It's with Brad Pitt and the kid from Kick-Ass and. Also, you guys probably don't.
Kick-Ass is a great movie.
There's a bunch of actors in there, actually. There's actually, you guys ever seen Atlanta?
No, I
don't think so, no.
So Atlanta is like one of my favorite shows. Well, was actually. They changed it so much, but it's with Childish Gambino and then a couple other people. They took like a chunk of that cast and put it into Bullet Train. So it was kind of interesting, but it was good. It was okay.
Is it worth the watch?
I'd say worth the watch, but I give it like a 6-9.
Yeah.
Like it was so many good actors and good budget and like but it was just not that good of a movie. It was only okay.
Okay, all right, I can respect that. Yeah, I didn't really watch anything much besides Wednesday, and then I think I watched a couple rom-coms, but I won't even discuss them because I know how that's gonna go on this fucking podcast. So, I actually did start a movie, and I never turn off a movie because like I like bad movies sometimes. But this movie was so bad, I actually had to, it's called 2 Night Stand, which is just like a dumb rom-com on Netflix. And
that's going to wrap it up for the movies.
What are we watching?
What are we watching section? Thank you guys so much for listening.
Follow T-Box Talk Pod on.
I totally turned it off after 40 minutes. It was the worst piece of trash I've ever seen.
Okay, so Colucci watches bad movies, likes to watch bad movies, and then when they're super mega bad, he turns them off after 20 minutes. Is that accurate?
No, I don't turn off movies. This one was so bad that I turned
That's what I'm
it
saying.
off.
It's a mega bad movie that you would
bad.
have to turn off.
Yeah,
okay.
I had to turn it
All
off.
right. So
I never turn off movies.
That's going to wrap up what we're watching.
Let's move in. Before I get into another fight here, let's move into some off-the-cuff stand-up. Nobody really prepared much. I think Will actually prepared something.
I have a joke that I remembered that I heard over the weekend, and I'm going to try and do it to the best of my ability. Should I go?
Shoot.
Okay.
You can. We're going to bomb a lot better. Like, if you have something in your mind,
I
you're
have
in
something.
good shape.
I don't know how well my delivery is going to be because I'm forgetting aspects of the joke, but I'll go for it, all right?
Okay.
All right, so there's this guy. He gets in a car accident. Let's just call him Jimmy, all right? So, Jimmy sustained some injuries. He wakes up in the hospital, and the doctor goes, okay, thank God you're alive. He goes, insurance covered for, most of your medical bills. But there's one problem. So, in addition to the injuries sustained, you also lost your penis. And the doctor says insurance, we can't replace it, and insurance is not going to cover the reconstructive surgery. So he said that's the bad news. The good news is that we can reconstruct it, and it's going to cost you $1,000 an inch to replace your peen. So. Jamie goes, well, that's bad news and that's good news, I guess. But he said, I only have $9,000 to spend to do the reconstructive surgery. And the doctor goes, okay, well, it's $1,000 an inch. So, you can do 2 inches, you can do 4 inches, you can do 6 inches, 9 inches, you can do the full $9,000. But maybe that's a conversation that you need to go home and have with your wife first. So Jimmy says, okay. You know, he gets checked out of the hospital. He goes home. He comes back to the doctor a week later. And the doctor goes, so Jimmy, what did you and your wife decide? And he goes, well, we're getting granite countertops.
Well, your face at the end of that was priceless. Like I don't know what it was about your face at the end of that, but you were just like so hopeful, and then I didn't even fucking. I think there's a funny joke in there. I just didn't pick up on it. What is it? What's the punchline? So he doesn't get a
new penis.
So he doesn't get a new penis. His wife wants granite countertops.
Oh. Yeah, that's good.
All right.
I think you got to be married to be like to understand that one.
My dad and I heard that joke, and we were in because the delivery was much better. Actually, Ray Romano from Everybody Loves Raymond told that joke, and the delivery was so much better, and we were crying laughing.
Yeah,
but
that was a good try. I like that. Well,
like I said, there's parts of that delivery that I just completely forgot and made up on the spot.
I mean, to be fair, too, if it is a joke that you heard outside of like it's a joke that you heard. So
well, we're on the spot here. That's all I got.
Kaluch, I don't have a joke. Here's what I was saying I would try to do. And if you ever this has been like a fear of mine my whole life, is that if you're asked to go up on stage to do a comedy routine and you don't have anything prepared, what comes out? Like you have like 3 minutes to start a comedy skit. What are you gonna do? Because I could just see being freaking out about it and not being able to execute it. So I'm curious how hard it is to on the spot just like get laughs out of people, you know? So that's what I was going to try to attempt with Kaluch and I, since we have been so busy and whatnot. And I think it'll be interesting to see if either of us can land anything.
Yeah, I got something in my mind that I want to complain about and get off my chest. And all right, there are certain people in the world that commit crimes, right? There are murderers, there are sex offenders, there's everything bad under the sun, right? But I think there's a group of people out there that are the worst of the worst. And you know who they are? They're the fucking mobile game developers, the app developers, because what they're doing is so fucking criminal. It's unbelievable. I recently re-downloaded Clash of Clans, and I've been playing it, and I'm having a good time with it. But my God, they make it so enticing to fucking just spend $3 to upgrade my clan village to like the next level. And it got me thinking a lot about like little kids. Like, you only need to click one button and you're purchasing that stuff. There is no verification. It's just enter like your Face ID, right?
Yeah.
Where if your Face ID is hooked up with your phone, you can purchase anything. So there are kids out there with their mom's credit cards just attached to Clash of Clans and all these games who are just ripping hundreds of dollars into their Clash of Clans. And like, I even had a friend who stole his sister's Apple iTunes card to pump money into his Dragonvale account. And it was so fucked up. So I think the worst type of people in this world are these crook gaming developer on the phones. And nobody's laughing, so that was horrendous.
You know what's funny? Can I tell you something?
I think there was something there. I couldn't find it.
Okay, I want to say something.
I couldn't bring it
in the beginning, I was getting worked up because what I think you could have done is you could have used such a more funny thing. Like,
I thought you were gonna say like the people who don't return shopping carts.
Yeah.
Those are the worst people in the world.
You know who the worst people in the fucking? Because you like compare one thing to the other that doesn't add up. But that's what's funny about it is you could have been like let me try to tell your joke for you. Okay, let me just see if because that was pretty funny. I think the start of it anyway. So to your point,
there are murderers, sex offenders.
Seriously, robbers. There are these horrible people amongst us that walk amongst us. We have murderers, serial killers. We have bad movie watchers.
Fuck you.
We have all the above. But you know who really fucking pisses me off? Andrew, you know? The people that really fucking piss me off are the fucking cash register people that fucking try to get me to donate to a charity. I don't fucking know. The people that basically do that shit where you gotta look them in the eyes and tell them,
yeah. You know what? That I almost put that on my stand-up one time because guess what? When you donate to a fucking Stop and Shop bullshit charity, they're just using that as a massive tax write-off at the end of the year.
Yeah, and also apparently they already donate anyways, so that money just goes to try to make their donation back. It's not actually going to the charity.
I mean, you know what else is kind of laughable is something that...
It's same vein when you're at like a fucking gas station, they turn the thing to you. It's like, would you like to tip 20%? It's like, what? Like, I'm in a fucking gas station.
Yeah, and I mean, like, on another note of people and things that I hate, but I think on another note is, like, yesterday was my birthday, and I had a lot of people, like, reach out. And, you know, I get these.
That's nice. That's nice.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, but that's the trick of it, right? Is I swear to God, like, again, there are rapists, serial killers, and all these things out there that are really, really horrible. But even worse than all of that are the people that send me a text message with HBD.
Yeah.
You know, like, anybody that sends a text message to you that expects you to think that it's any bit meaningful, that types out HBD, or even happy birthday is kind of fun. Like, Barrera texted me yesterday saying, like, happy birthday, Joshua. And I was like, what are you, a 57-year-old man?
Well, I think that's his joke.
Was this LinkedIn?
Yeah.
No, but I think he's...
What is this, LinkedIn?
I think he specifically is trying to do that. Like, I get that.
He's intentionally giving you a less
He's
than
intentionally trying to be an older gentleman
we
in a
fuck
message.
with him all the time.
So you know what I sent back to him? I just started repeating him. I just started sending back the same exact message that he was sending me to make him understand that he sent like the dumbest message. Yeah. You know what? I actually had something funny happen yesterday. It was so fucking funny. I'm you know, I go through the whole day, and I get to, like, later on, and I get a call. No, sorry, I get a text from blank. Kevin. Kevin used to work at OMADA. He's one of our best friends. Like, we love fucking Kevin. And Kevin, he texts me like unrelated to my birthday, and just sends a message to me saying, like, hey, Jot, like, what up? We got to hang soon, this and that. And in my head, I'm thinking, like, finally somebody sends a good birthday text. Because they're like, he actually cares enough to not say HBD, but like rather be like, yo, what's up? Like,
let's make a plan.
Let's make a plan.
Hope you're well. Let's catch up soon. Yeah.
And then, like, 3 messages later, as I'm, like, responding to him, he goes, oh, shit, I just realized it's your fucking birthday, dude. I was like, he's like, I saw a memory on Snapchat, and, like, I didn't put together that the reason I got it was because it was your birthday. So happy birthday. And then he gave me a call, and we had this whole long it was like we were dying laughing at the fact that he sent me this long message, like heartfelt message on my birthday without knowing it was my birthday.
That's actually awesome.
And it ended up being the best birthday text of the day.
Oh,
well, that's
great.
Bullshit. I fucking waited up till midnight to text
Oh,
you.
Clutch, you fucking, no, you are in the top ranks. I mean, he called me a lot. He's also, see, I see you every day, so it has less of that impact. Callaway was an absolute stud yesterday. Yeah, he was the only person that did a nighttime text to me like that. So he wins on that front.
Well, I think birthdays are fucking stupid, but it is nice on your birthday to get text from people you haven't talked to.
What does Ron Swanson say? Birthdays are an excuse for Hallmark to sell cards, or like birthdays were invented by Hallmark to sell cards.
I think birthdays are dope because it's like, it is nice to feel the attention, but don't ever text me. If anybody's ever listening to this, don't you ever text me HBD on my fucking birthday. I lived 20...
You're better off no text.
I worked my ass off to survive for 25 years on this godforsaken wasteland of a planet. And you're going to text me on my 21st birthday, fucking HBD.
HBD.
So
that's like worse than like the HBD in the back of the year, but your 2008 yearbook.
Yeah. So
Hags, have a great summer.
That concludes my off-the-cuff stand-up. It turns out I think I might actually be decent enough to get up on stage, so I'm fucking happy with that.
Okay, chill out.
I got you right up. Dude, I think I could do it. I think I could get up on stage for 10 minutes and say some funny things.
I would choke like fucking rabbit on the 8 Mile. And
maybe I would. I don't know. Like, that's the thing. Like, here's the tough part about the dynamic with us is we don't have a crowd to interact with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, when we say a joke in here, like a bunch of my buddies or any of the people that listen to this podcast are probably laughing their asses off because we sound like fools. But the truth is, if you have a crowd to play off of, like, I said this the other day about Stavros, is like, he'll ask a random, like, arbitrary question to the crowd, and the shit he gets out of random people are insane.
Yeah, there's no intermittent reinforcement.
Right. Like, if I asked you guys a question, like, anybody here struggle to eat food? And like every time I look at a chicken parm sandwich, I shit myself. And then like somebody from the crowd stands up and says, you know, it's like goes through their dietary restrictions, and we just can break that down. You can make jokes along the way. So I don't know, but that was fun. That was good.
Well, hey, happy birthday to Josh, and that's gonna wrap up. That's gonna wrap up T-Box Talk episode 34. Thank you so much for listening. Get on our email list for the Christmas sale. Reminder: December 16th is probably the last day you can order and get your cart before Christmas. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. Like, rate, subscribe. Tell one friend, tell one family member, and have a fantastic weekend. Thank you so much.
See ya.
Peace.